welcome to Games in the Dark After Dark. This has been... Oh, I like the whispers. Whispers I like, Liam. You can keep giving me whispers. You can give me whispers all day long. I like the spookiness of whispers. Jamie, you should join in on whispers next time. If we get a cacophony of background whispers, I'll be a very happy Jay. This is our second episode of our foray into Shadowdark. This has been a second sort of gauntlet, kind of in a way. It was a pit fighter kind of free-for-all battle where we were introduced to another kind of part of society here in the Jurum, which is what we're calling, or what I guess the game itself, the zine calls the desert landscape for Shadowdark. That's this kind of setting that we're in. Mm-hmm. First of all, before we get into anything else, how cool is the desert setting, guys?
Dude, I'm digging it. The idea of being just a pit fighter, just fighting for your life literally every day in this inhospitable, literally unlivable environment is fantastic. And it's the kind of place that forms someone like Ire, right? Like somebody who has a strict moral code, but it does not necessarily conform with what people would typically recognize as good.
Yeah.
Jamie, so why did he kill his master if he's such a code-following person?
He's an oppressor. My master is an oppressor.
Sounds like a contradiction.
Is he like a is he one of these like I'm lawful when like a Judge Dredd, like the law is in the eye of the beholder?
So,
or is he like
it's not so much I am the law, it's Madeira is the law, right?
And so does perhaps Madeira have some teachings against, say, slavery or repression or something like that?
Oppression of her children.
And so this is, even though it's a letter of the law to follow him because you are by law owned, according to Madeira's law, this is a violation of natural
and Madeira's
order.
Law is the only law that Ire cares about.
I can get behind that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's kind of a the way I saw it is like, okay, so Madeira is the first covenant, right? And it doesn't like go into super detail in the book, which I think is very wise. Good job, Kelsey.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because I think of it as like a code of Hammurabi type of situation, right? Like this is ancient law that is like, if you try to inflict hurt upon me, I will inflict hurt upon you. Right?
Yeah.
And I'm justified in doing so.
Yeah.
Or if you are preventing me through however steps of achieving my goal, I may have the right to circumvent you, however that may come about.
It's like a harder style, a harder version of law than
it's
our liberal democratic laws or something.
Yeah. So how close were you to busting that merchant's head because they didn't buy your thing for 50 gold?
Oh no, I was not close to it. I was not close to
okay.
No. Yeah, I said why not 50? That was Ire's version of like effectively I was trying to communicate how awkward Ire is. Like his version of a joke is like
just did not come across as a joke at all.
Yeah.
It came across as all right. We got a murderer over here.
I feel like that speaks to his like charisma dump to some extent.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and what I'm excited for, what I'm excited for is, I think that everybody in the party, especially in a 3-person party, you got to fill different roles. Like you can't kind of double up. And I think that both Zaf, as I'm playing him, and Ire, as you're playing him, I think they're both hard, like kind of individuals, but I think they're in their own lanes, to be fair. Like I think they're in their own lanes, but I'm excited for how Mason is going to play his character because he has talked about wanting to be the face and very thankful that he had, I think, a relatively decent charisma role on his character. He's really happy about that. And
there's no competition for that role like from me. I don't think you have much of a charisma score either.
No, I don't. But, what am I at here? I'll find it,
but yeah, another part of that was also him being so alien to the commerce process. Like as a slave, you're not buying, selling, and trading, right? Commonly,
Right.
So if you hear some of gold, maybe I've heard like, oh, I cost X number of dollars, right? Which may or may not be more or less than what this armor was worth. So money seems very arbitrary to hire.
Yeah, I
Like,
think that makes sense.
it's also like,
Zaf's charisma is 13, by the way, so he's enough to be able to lie and pass himself off as something. Hence, a fake voice dealing with the merchants.
Yeah.
And kind of almost like the kind of inbuilt disguise kit with just the way his clothing works. But not enough to be, like a silver tongued diplomat or charmer or barterer or something like that. Just enough to like the low cunning, street smart. How do I manipulate people in order to get away with something just long enough to get away? You know what I mean? That's kind of how I'm imagining him.
Jay, how do you like the sneak attack in this system versus the OSR's? I feel like OSR's sneak attack is incredibly, like, you're gonna die if you get snuck on. But this one is just times 2.
Just times 2.
And there are ways to increase it as you level up, but you have to roll that advancement.
Yeah, I would say I like both. I can appreciate that both, because I think both are meant to be features to express like the deadliness of each system, but they express the deadliness of each system in different ways. I think OSR expresses the deadliness of the sneak attack and being like, listen, if it's a single target, like the giant that I brought down with the crossbow bolt, or like I think I did like 75 something damage to the vampire, which didn't matter, but it was like just an insane number. When I saw it, I was just like, this is fucking crazy, dude. Given that none of us ever had half that many hit points, you know what I mean?
right.
It's just like a disgusting looking like number. It's like very gratifying when you pull that off, but it's also true that like there are ways that the system protects against that being overpowered, in a sense, because, I fought that Viking guy one-on-one in the random encounter, and it's like he won initiative. He basically killed me in one shot. I went to stand up, proc opportunity attack. He fucking murks me. It's over.
Yeah.
Like, because I'm not getting sneak attack. And when I don't get sneak attack, like I'm just like a level 1 dude basically in combat, right? Which I actually quite like. Well, like when we would get into combat scenarios where it's like, okay, there's like 5 dudes or whatever, it's like I can get one of these guys in a shot, but the rest, okay, now you're just like you're dealing with. So it's like you kind of thin the herd, but you're still just combat is drag out, knock down, all that kind of stuff. This seems like I could be wrong because we're just new into it. It feels like it might be easier to get a sneak attack in some way, but
it'll be
like
easier with the Razgodai.
Yeah.
With your smoke step ability,
with the smoke step,
poof,
and the unaware thing, I think it's for sure going to be easier to get. But I think it's you can't rely on it as I'm just going to one shot kill stuff and then I win this scenario. And so I think that it's like when I was looking at the smoke step thing, I have only ever thought of it as a means of escape, not as a means of entry. I've only.
I would definitely allow you to do the assassin trait if you do a smoke step behind someone that you're in a combat with.
Yeah,
you suddenly get
behind them. I hadn't considered that. I hadn't considered it using it that way. Like they're unaware that you've just appeared behind them, even though they're in combat with you. That's super cool.
Yeah.
What I was thinking more of is like the traditional sneak into a place, lie in wait to kill someone, and then as soon as you kill them, bamf out into like a waiting palanquin outside in the back alley or something like that. That's like within the 30-foot or nearby or whatever range. As just like I've killed the person, but now the egress is the thing that matters. But maybe that's me because Jamie, that my big thing is like paranoia and how do I survive the thing across every system.
And it's a limited resource too. You can only do it 3 times a day. So
that's right.
Keeping it on hand to get out of stuff makes sense. For my side, with when I have the monsters or NPCs, they don't have die rolls for their health in this system. It is here's the health. I think that, I mean, to me, that feels like I'm cheating because it's like you guys are rolling your health. Like, Liam, you got a 2 on your hit points, which is
What happens?
awful.
Yeah.
But then these guys are all basically taking an average roll. So I think in the future, I'm going to be rolling dice for their health. I like that variety.
I do like that. I like that
this
mechanic.
dude
Like
only has
seeing
1 hit
you
point.
being like, hey,
Yeah.
this guy is, and it gives you, variety is a great word for it because it gives you the spice of like, oh, maybe this guy's chunky. Like this is the soldier of soldiers.
Yeah.
Or maybe he was like, a Nepo baby and got his position as a guard because his uncle is the captain or something like that,
Yeah.
Like,
and it just seems more fair because I'm not
Yeah.
saying, hey, if you guys have a shitty roll, your average health is okay.
Right.
I'm sticking with, because if you wanted the advantage, you get the dwarf. You could have been a dwarf.
Yeah, and that's like the dwarf is like advantage +2, I think, health. So
That's right.
I rolled. I rolled we hadn't rolled health last time, but I rolled it while Liam was doing his rolling and all that kind of stuff. And so
what'd you get for your health?
So I got a 4 on the D6. I have +2 con, and I add +2 for dwarf. I rolled a 2 and a 4 were the 2 D6 rolls for my hit points. So I have 8 hit points, which feels decent at first level.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like for my like ancestry choice, the 2 things that I was bouncing between were human and half orc, right?
Yeah.
Human gets an extra talent. Half orc gets what I just realized was +1 to attack and to damage rolls. So I'm very glad I went with half orc in the end. But the reason I decided on half orc is I was like looking at the abilities of the pit fighter and was like, a lot of these are survivability, so a little extra damage would not go amiss,
Yeah. I think it's cool that pit fighter, what is the flourish or whatever ability?
Yeah, the flourish is going to be super useful when I get higher level.
Oh yeah. You're presumably a frontliner, so the ability to like, if you hit, then to also like heal and kind of balance, and also
the pit fighter
it gives you
should
the
never
crest
die.
Right. It gives you it gives you the crest of like, I'm near death, and then I land an entertaining strike, and that invigorates me, and I'm reinvigorated.
That's exactly what it
continue the fight.
That's exactly
so you
how
kind
I
of ride the peaks and valleys of the wave.
And like
are you not entertained? Like that seems badass to me.
And it's a little cool. It calls back a little bit into my like real life, because I remember back in the day, just I don't know if it's just a little bit of heel in me, but when I was a football player for a while at a very small high school, I'm no all-star or anything, but when I was a football player, I'd make a good play, and I would always love it more if I was at if I was in an away game, basically, because you'd hear people like, "Oh, come on, boo!" Like, that type of stuff, and it would just make me like play all the better. And so I really feel like I can tap into that part of the character.
Well, hopefully in later levels he'll get more health so he can actually recover with the flourish, because right now it is
right now it's I've used it once. I gained 1 HP even though I rolled 4 HP.
You guys enjoying the system though?
It sounds like
really like the early taste seems really cool. I like as a longtime 5th edition player, I like that advantage and disadvantage are a mechanic. I probably mentioned this in another one of these After Darks, because I just love advantage and disadvantage as a mechanic. In the same way, like when we played Blades in the Dark and Rebel Crown, I really liked that it was like there's like the degrees of success and that kind of thing on a D6. You know what I mean? Where it's like 6 is total success, 4, 5 is success, but with success, like a consequence, right? And then 1 through 3.
It's a great narrative tool.
It's a great narrative tool, and I think that it's just like mechanically clean, because to me, like having come up, I've talked about this with you, but like having come up in 3.5, which is like the crunchiest of the crunch in my experience.
Right.
Like I came up where everything was math. Like everything was math, and you would plan a character. It's like, okay, we're starting a new campaign. You're like, okay, let me reverse engineer this from like level 20 to figure out all the feats that I need to take in order to get to where I want to go. And you're just like, it's like the wrong way to play, because it's all crunch first, story second. And I think that anything that cleans up the crunch in a way that is at least passingly satisfying and allows you to get out of your own fucking way regarding the mechanics and just like tell the story more cleanly while still relying on the chance of dice and trying to incorporate those in creative ways. That's the juice to me now as a more mature player, rather than the superhero or ultra hero kind of version of, TTRPGs. And so I love advantages and disadvantages as a mechanic. I think that it's very, to me, in my playing experience, very original that like torches are as valuable essentially in the game mechanics as they are, because I think that's cool. I think that's I don't, I'm not a big like let's be professional campers style TTRPG gamer. The things that like we played, what was it, Lamentations that we played, where I was like the bookkeeper and it was just nonstop. How much does a mule cost, and how much does a link boy cost? And it was just like, man, I was like between sessions so much bookkeeping to make sure that our adventuring party was just like doing what we were supposed to, that it was like, it was a lot of work. And so anything like this that's like, hey, you cross hexes, you can forage as you go, and it's just like a simple roll. And we're not getting bogged down in the mechanics, but there is a mechanic, and then you can embrace the narrative to whatever the style of your party is. That's what I'm for. Yeah. I'm so for that. So it seems cool. Seems cool so far from what I've seen.
Digging it.
And I mean, the further you get away from society, the more those resources will dry up.
Yeah.
There's no chance of the resource staying. Like with OSR, there's there's
usage
scarcity
dice.
die.
Yeah.
So it's a cool mechanic, but also you could potentially live forever on one buy of rations.
It'd be statistically an anomaly, but you could. So I was talking to you earlier about Black Sword Hack. Black Sword Hack has advantage, disadvantage as a mechanic. It also uses usage die like OSR does. And so it combines a few mechanics that we've dabbled in. When I was reading through it the other day, it feels really familiar to a bunch of systems that we've run, because it seems like it is drawing from a bunch of familiar mechanics. There's no, the only mechanic that's in it that seems new to me that would be a thing to get used to is how the ability scores and like the DC rolls essentially work. It's like you roll each ability that you have, and it's the same 6 that are in like D&D in this game and all, all of them. You roll 2d6 for your starting ability. Okay. So 2d6 strength, for instance.
Yeah.
And your job is kind of like Zweihander. You're rolling a d20 and you're trying to get under whatever that 2d6 number is. So if your strength is on 2d6, if your strength is an 8, you're rolling a d20, you're trying to get under 8 for a success. A natural 1 is a crit success. A natural 20 is a crit failure.
Okay.
So it's just kind of like a little bit backwards. So it's like there's like a similar roll under mechanic as there is in Zweihander. There's advantage, disadvantage. There's usage die like OSR. So it's kind of cool. It's like a bunch of stuff we're familiar with.
Very cool. Whenever we get a slot open, Jay.
Never. It'll never happen. And that's okay. I'll just keep thinking about it. It'll be a PDF that I have. Maybe I'll buy the physical book, and it'll sit next to Shadowdark, and I'll think, one day when these guys need somebody to run something, I'll be there. I'll be there to run something hyper political, and they're all going to be murder hobos, and I'm going to kill them immediately and say, no, try again. The job here is to be a deep thinker, and I will slap your pee-pee every time you aren't a deep thinker. That'll be the job.
Don't you threaten me with a good time.
Your GM style?
I love when I GM. I try to set up. I build the world before I build anything else. Before I build any story or whatever. What is the setting and what's happening in the set? What's the story of the setting? What factions are there that exist? And what are their machinations, plans, goals? How are they achieving those things? And now you as players are set into that thing. And some of it, it's really up to you. How much do you want to learn about what's going on? Do you only care about what's in your immediate vicinity? Are you that like myopic, I guess? Or do you ask simple questions like, hey, who's in charge? Who's the rival guild to our guild? Or like whatever. And by finding those things out, it's very easy for me to just be like, oh, this is the timeline for each of these factions. This is how they're competing with one another. This is what that's happening in the general world. And now you, the player, are placed into this deal. And I try to give some hook and reason for everybody to be together that would generally motivate you for the first 10 sessions or whatever mini arc we open with. And beyond that, you should be either super fucking choked at one of these factions or super happy with one of them, or ideally both of those things. And then you guys figure out the story from there. So, and it's all deeply kind of political, relational, that kind of thing. That's what I try to do. Yep. So you have to think, if you're playing in one of my games, you got to think. And if you're just like, I'm here to make dick jokes and do nothing, I'm like, all right, well, that's probably not going to work for me, brother. You know,
Okay,
this is why I haven't run a game for us yet, because sometimes, you know,
sorry, Liam.
Yeah, sometimes we're about, you know, dick butts and that sort of thing.
Sometimes Jay and I are all, Jay is often my partner in crime with the dick butt jokes.
Yes, it's true. It's true.
And occasionally Sean.
Well,
I can't usually derail Mason.
Sometimes you have to join them in the jokes.
It's true.
That's right.
It's true. We kept it pretty straight along.
It was clean. It was clean today, boy. I liked it. I think that hopefully for any of our listeners who are paying attention, I think the one note that all of 4 of us had going into this is, of course, there's going to be humor in it to some extent, but I think we all want to strike a serious tone, given that the name of the game is Shadowdark, and the feeling should be serious and perhaps dramatic, and feels like we're doing that so far.
More than that, for me, it was like, well, every system so far has been like kind of silly fun time system. So why not give it a roll of the dice and see what the other
Liam, the systems have not been silly fun time. You decide to make them silly fun time.
Yes.
Zweihander is a very
super grim dark.
Yeah. OSR, very grim dark.
I did have a dark ending to my first character in Zweihander.
What other systems?
He's looking at the shelf. He's like, let me catalog all the dark, serious things I've tried to give you guys.
I enjoy the dark serious.
I do too.
When silly fun happens, I tolerate it because you guys enjoy it.
That's true.
That's
true. Well, I decided to give Jamie, the gift of not fucking it up.
All right,
Jamie.
We'll see how long it lasts.
Did you enjoy my disgusting description of harming that gentleman today? Was
that was great?
It was great.
That was my favorite part of the session, frankly.
Shoving the eyeball, getting the socket. Yes, good stuff.
That was a gift. That was a gift for you, brother. All right. Have a great night, everybody.
All right.
Later.
See you later.